Let me ask you this. When was the last time you stood alone, silently crushed by an invisible weight? When was the last time your heart broke so deeply that no one around you even noticed the cracks? You woke up in the morning, the same as always, yet carrying a soul shattered by pain, by a truth that no one could see. And as you faced the world, your world, filled with its noise, its demands, its relentless pace, where was the hand that reached out to you? Where was the comfort, the reassurance that someone understood your struggle? The answer, my friend, is simple. It wasn't there. The people you cross paths with, the busy souls rushing past you, none of them stopped to see you. None of them truly cared, at least not in the way that you hoped. It's a bitter pill, one that's hard to swallow. But here's the truth you need to hear. Nobody cares about you, at least not in the way you believe they should. But don't let this revelation defeat you. Don't let the indifference of the world reduce you to nothingness. Instead, let this truth set you free. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." If you can embrace this wisdom, you will find strength even in solitude. The world doesn't owe you comfort, nor does it exist to guide you through every hardship. Stoicism doesn't teach you to resent others for their indifference. It teaches you to realize that you don't need their validation. The world may not care about you in the way you expect, but in that very space, you can find true freedom. 1. Breaking free from one-sided relationships. Life is filled with relationships. Family, friendships, love. Connections that demand your time, your energy, and your heart. And sometimes, in those relationships, we invest all that we have. We expect, we hope, and we give. But then, we are met with silence, indifference. The very people we care about may not return the same energy, and it hurts. It stings. A one-sided relationship can make you question your worth. You might find yourself wondering why you're putting so much into something that doesn't seem to give anything back. This is the moment when Stoic philosophy offers its greatest lesson. Your value does not come from others. Epictetus, another wise Stoic, once said, "Man is disturbed not by things, but by the views he takes of them." This means that the way you interpret and respond to others' actions or inactions determines your peace. It's not the indifference of others that should disturb you. It's your own response to it. Imagine a situation where your opinions are dismissed, where your input is ignored. At first, you may feel frustration rise within you, but Stoicism teaches that you can choose to respond differently. You can choose to remain calm, composed, and self-respecting. By doing so, you shift the energy of the interaction. You assert your own value, not through outward displays, but through inner strength. This silence, this calm, is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of your inner power. Letting go of the need for validation doesn't mean rejecting relationships or isolating yourself. It simply means that you recognize that your happiness does not depend on what others think of you. True freedom comes from self-reliance, from finding value within yourself, not from external recognition. Think about marathon runners. They don't need the applause of the crowd or the competition to fuel their drive. They rely solely on their own strength, their own perseverance. And in that solitude, they find their greatest freedom. So too can you. When you stop seeking validation from others, you begin to live for yourself. You discover the power of self-respect, and in doing so, you unlock the potential for genuine happiness. 2. The emotional toll of being always available. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek recognition. Compliments, praise, awards, these become measures of our self-worth. We chase external validation, whether it's from our parents, teachers, or peers. As we grow older, this external validation shifts. Social media enters the picture. Likes, shares, comments. These virtual tokens of recognition become the new currency of our self-esteem. But like a shadow that slips through our fingers, this validation is fleeting. You may have experienced this before. You post a photo of your recent vacation, and for a brief moment, you feel the rush of satisfaction as the likes pour in. But how long does that joy last? A day? A few hours? By the time your next post goes up, you're already seeking that same rush again. It's a never-ending cycle, and it's exhausting. The constant need for approval slowly chips away at your sense of self. You begin to mold yourself into the version of yourself that you think others want to see, rather than the person you truly are. Let's take a closer look at Nikki's story. Nikki is someone who always says yes to her friends. Whether it's an outing, a party, or any kind of social event, Nikki is there. She rearranges her life to fit in with the expectations of others. She's always available. But what does this constant availability cost her? Over time, Nikki loses sight of her own desires. She becomes so preoccupied with pleasing others that she forgets what truly makes her happy. She finds herself caught in a web of dependence on others' approval. It's a dangerous place to be, and Nikki is not alone. Many of us fall into this trap. We wear ourselves thin trying to meet the expectations of those around us, all the while forgetting that our value does not lie in their approval. Stoicism teaches us to be mindful of this emotional toll. It reminds us that we are not defined by the opinions of others. The moment you stop seeking validation, you reclaim your autonomy. You can begin to live authentically, not as a version of yourself shaped by the needs and expectations of others, but as the person you truly are. True peace comes from within. When you stop measuring your worth by likes, comments, or social approval, you regain control over your own life. You no longer need to be constantly available to others, because you have learned to value your own company first. 3. Embracing the solitude of self-reliance. Now that we've discussed breaking free from one-sided relationships and the emotional toll of always seeking approval, let's explore the true power of solitude. Stoicism teaches us that we don't need anyone else to validate our worth. The journey to inner peace is not about finding external comfort, but about cultivating inner strength. When you are at peace with yourself, you are no longer dependent on the opinions of others. You are free to live authentically, with purpose, and with dignity. Consider the example of a Stoic in solitude. This person doesn't seek validation from others. They are not swayed by the opinions or expectations of society. Instead, they stand firm in their beliefs, guided by their own internal compass. This freedom, this peace, is not something that is given to you by the world. It is something you must create for yourself. When you let go of the need for others to care, you free yourself from the emotional burdens that weigh you down.